Cheers, everyone. It's Wednesday, the 27th. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Well, I just got up. It's 8 in the morning. Just checking my news, my feed, and very unfortunate for me, a musical friend, someone I considered a real friend and was hoping to see again, lives in Chicago. Michael Teach passed away. He was the founder and the organizer of the Chicago Acoustic Underground organization, which hosted me in Chicago a few times. I met Michael through working with this Dutch artist, Gunnar Kleeman. Different. This is an album that I play bass on that was put out by Michael Teach's label, Cow Dog. Cow Dog was named in tribute to his favorite dog, Buffy, who I just loved. And this is my main cup that I use most of the time. Cow Dog Records. There's Buffy. I didn't even pull this on purpose. This is the cup that I use most of the time. This one or the frog. Michael was a true American businessman where he was into the merchandise, trying to sell stuff. Don't remember the name of the woman, but when I met Michael, he was involved with another artist that had ended up on America's Got Talent, did well. He bankrolled a record for this person, and it seemed like things were really going great, and then they just completely ripped him off, totally ripped Michael off. It was through Michael that I met Brad Elvis, who was in the Romantics and the Elvis Brothers. Drummer who, he's no longer with Romantics. He's aged out, unfortunately for us. We're all getting old. But he looked like one of the Kinks. And we got on like a house on fire when I met him. And we not only did the recording session, we did the recording session for Kleeman. We both got paid for it, scale, which was nice. And Michael put me up in an apartment one of the times I was there. While we were recording the album, he supplied me with my own apartment. He didn't have to spend that money. But Brad Elvis, who I met through Michael, he and I, we played one gig together with Kleeman and traveled till I think to Milwaukee, somewhere in Wisconsin. Did a road trip with Brad. It was all through Michael. Michael was a lovely, lovely man. Real music lover, had great stories. I remember one story where he ended up at a party with Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. Other stories where he was friends with Uriah Heep and stuff. He was a great guy. He wasn't a bullshitter. He was real. So that's sad news for me. Just finding that out just now. So I want to share that with you. For you folks that collect me, this is another record where I play bass on about half of the album. I don't know how to tell you how to get this record. Kleeman actually just tried to get a hold of me saying he was coming back to America. I wonder if he's here in Chicago at this time. I'll probably hear from him if that's the case. If you live in Chicago and you've ever been to the George Harrison tribute concert that happens every year that Ellis Clark is a big part of, Michael's behind that as well. So rest in peace, Michael. It's bummer news. It's bummer news. On the bright side, Inner Image continues to sell. I just sold one to someone in Spain. That means a lot, that people want the music enough that they're willing to pay that exorbitant postage for it. It costs more to post it than to buy the damned album. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. I keep seeing the comments where people are letting me know the music is wonderful. It's beautiful. It truly is. I'm actually expecting company this morning. Drummer Dan Berger, who we were in the band Patio Furniture together. And it's nice. Dan is someone who I don't really personally have a whole lot in relation to except for music and the fact that he's a really nice person. We enjoyed each other's company, and he's one of the few people who will call me or text me and say, "It's been a while. Can we visit?" Because I don't do that. I hardly call anyone ever. It's been that way most of my life. I've definitely lost friends in the past because of that. And it was only years later that I realized, oh, that's why. And I'm just being myself. That's why I say I wouldn't be surprised if I'm on the autistic spectrum somewhere. I ain't regular normal. I know that. And I'm happy about it. But Dan's been calling. What I also like about Dan is he may have an agenda. He may have a reason he wants to talk to me, but he is a genuine friend who doesn't come over just to glom off my energy. It's a give and take. It really is. So that's supposed to happen here in a little while. A little bit more on production because see, I don't mind sharing. For me, it's not about, oh, I've got this information, I've got this skill, and let me just make money off of it. Let me go back to the comment because we spoke a little bit. What did he say? I shared with you about compression, and I heard it from a few folks. And he was saying that there are things like creating realistic sounding MIDI drums, something that he hasn't been able to do for years of trying. I'm assuming this is a male. I don't know that it could be a woman. Well, I will share this with you that I do fuck with the drum sounds. But I also years ago had the great pleasure of being given a drum library from Brendan James down in Australia. He sent it to me as a present on a USB. Now, since then, I have downloaded more drum sounds, and I've also learned how to modify the drum sounds in the Korg and the other red drum, the main drum programs that I use. And I generally do have to modify the sounds to get them to sound the way I want them to, or close anyway. But the other trick is I'm a drummer. I say it in the present tense, even though I don't have drums, I haven't played a set in a while, but I am a drummer. And it's a skill. I like that word skill. I have to get the programs, the drum programs, to the point where it feels like I'm playing. It is a challenge. I'm actually working on a new piece that was inspired by listening to the new Kendrick Lamar, and I'm trying to say, how do they get that bounce? How are they getting that bounce? How are they getting that bounce in that rhythm? Because I can program the notes, but it's how to... There's something I haven't figured out yet, but I will. Excuse me. So, yesterday, a couple of records got played, but again, it was another day of I'm really enjoying quietly working on music. I like that it's just this, the fire hasn't gone out, because sometimes it'll go out and then I won't. For the most of this year, I started in January and then nothing until almost September. Nothing really gelled in the summer. I started a couple of sessions with Blake, and cubby, but nothing really. So, been in the studio quite a bit. But this got played, and this is the first time that it connected. My friend Roger from Lincoln, who just bought Inner Image. If you see this, Roger, thank you. He gave this to me, Mogwai. This is a band that has come to Omaha several times. They're from Europe. I never have bothered to go because when I would check out their tracks before the show, it would be like, I don't need to go to this. This is okay, but you know. Yesterday was the first time I really enjoyed this. Every Country's Son by Mogwai. And they're also a band who, when I see their records used, they're tempting, but I haven't bought them, and I'm really kind of glad because this is all right. It's like post rock. It's instrumental for the most part, but it's like at this point, it's like I kind of like what I'm not doing this, but what I'm doing is like just a little more interesting. Clear vinyl, but it was like okay. Stuart, whatever his name is, it finally hit me, and it's like, okay, this is decent, this is good. So that was a nice revelation yesterday in my listening because I was putting it on thinking, well, I know Roger really likes this band and he wanted me to have it, but this might be getting traded, and I'm so glad that I had a positive experience with it. Mogwai, good band. The highlight of listening yesterday was this album. I took the time. I had never taken the time to read the whole booklet that comes with this. Fascinating. And this holds up even though it's old. And it's early sampling, early days of sampling, but this is something. Graham Revell of SPK, The Insect Musicians. This came out like in 1986. I've had it for a long time due to my interest in this industrial music, SPK, for a time I was getting into that heavy. But I haven't ever really deeply spent time with this album until yesterday. This is really quite a project. The booklet explains that The Insect Musicians is exactly that. This is a project where what was done was the sound of insects, including the sound of insects above and beyond and below the human ability to hear, were recorded, sampled, and then laid out and fucked with so that the inaudible could create waveforms that can be detected by humans. But they went one step further by making musical tones with these sounds. It's not just the sound of crickets and stuff on a record. They compose with it. And I'm glad that I read, because as I listened, I could hear. You could assume that the tone that you're hearing is just a sine wave that's been fucked with, but it's insects. Excuse me. And there'll be parts where and each track only uses up to 6 to 8 different sounds. It also explains in the book the different tones, the different ways that the insects are making the sounds and how those are used. For example, some of the sounds are what they call stridulations, where what crickets do, rubbing their bodies, and other sounds like courtship, feeding. This is fascinating, and it was a real enjoyable experience as well as musical. And they do a variation on the sakura, which I've also done too. When I was in Japan working for School of Japan for the summer as a music writer, I forget I think one of the brothers who I was working for asked me to do something with the Sakura melody. And so I have a version of Sakura that I've done. That, oh, I did actually play a couple more things. Not a couple more things. This, from the Orange Milk label. What is this? RXM Reality. And this does kind of sound like music for video games or something in that territory. But it was enjoyable because it's just like, well, I don't know what they're going to do next. And I don't know. Stuff like that is very, very fun to listen to for me. It keeps my attention. It's like, well, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? What's going on? And then here's one I forgot to show the other day. Boy, do I sure do like The Residents. Got into some duck stab. I remember the first time I saw this cover, it did scare me. I was like, what the fuck is that? Duck stab. What the fuck? And when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a duck. So this did. It kind of traumatized me at first. The Residents don't fuck around. You know, I have such great respect for them. I remember the third time I saw The Residents was in Minneapolis. And I stayed at this hotel that we found near the First Avenue, where we discovered that a lot of musicians stay at. And I wasn't there one time when Chibo Mata was there, but I'm pretty sure that I ran into The Residents, but I couldn't say that I think you're The Residents at my hotel. And my friend Frank was with me, and we both picked up on it. These guys, we could just tell, you know, that's probably people with The Residents. It could even be The Residents. That was kind of cool. I love this. Constantinople, lizard lady, something on here. It's wild. I love this stuff. So that's where I'm at. And Michael will be on my mind because every time I take a sip and I look at the cup, he loved this dog, Buffy, so much. Little dog. I like animals, but little dogs can get on my nerves because they'll get on your legs and the next thing you're stepping on them, you know. He just loved Buffy, and I happened to be there. Was I there when Buffy died? I think I was. It was heavy. Michael was a great guy, and he was the sort of person that unfortunately gets taken advantage of in business because he loves music, he believes in people, and he'll give people chances. And I saw him personally get just, you know, taken advantage of. People just coming over, greasing his palm. I need this, I need that, I need a guitar, I need this. He would do it. He would do it. I don't know how many people paid him back, but he was a wonderful guy. So once again, rest in peace, Michael Teach. Hope everything is all right with folks. Get ready for your big meal tomorrow. Hope that's Thanksgiving is a holiday that the holiday, what it says it's about, means nothing to me because I think it's a lie. Pretty sure it is. But what happens as a result, where people come together and really try to have a warm moment of gathering. I hope that can happen for people tomorrow. I wish it could happen all the time. But I know that Thanksgiving is one of those times when people really try to make it happen. So I hope you have a good one tomorrow. Cheers. And I'll say it again. Don't just stop. Don't stop buying this. I got another one coming next week. Just as good. And you'll hear and you'll find out. Just as good. Take care.